This is the evening news, so Wednesday, August 27, 2014. I'm Michael Young. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight. Luncheon urges politicians to make minority government work. Autopsy results prove fisherman died from single stab wound to the heart. GDF hosts meeting with Brazilian military. Latin man arrested for gun ammunition possession. PAHO director to visit Guyana for Wellness Week. It's now time for the news in detail. Let's tell you first that head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luncheon, said instead of trying to prevent a minority government, politicians should strive to make it work, as he addressed journalists at the office of the President today. Details in this Svetlana Marshall report.
Minority governments appear to be the order of the day in many countries across the globe. Head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luncheon said. According to him, in Guyana, it may very well become a feature. Dr. Luncheon posited that instead of opposing it, political parties, stakeholders and civil society should work in harmony to make the system work.
The emphasis perhaps need to be more on making minority governments work as opposed to preventing minority governments.
Alluding specifically to the current political atmosphere, the head of the Presidential Secretariat said since the no-confidence motion was submitted to the National Assembly by the Alliance for Change, political activities on the ground have surged. But notably, he said, major attention is now being given to the alliance politics in keeping with Burnham's constitution that allow parties to lose but yet still win.
In many different forms, they have all attracted attention by various political parties at different times. I think the public would be aware that one of the major calls for the government of national unity, the desire to have the most inclusive of governments, all are deeply rooted in a call, or deeply rooted in a sense that an alliance is ideally the way forward, as opposed to first past the post and the other forms of electoral systems.
Based on his analysis, he said the submission of the no-confidence motion has reawakened a discourse on alliance policies, but this, he said, is not a unique situation. It was explained that once there are pending elections, whether general or local, the issue of alliance pops up. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
Thanks, Svetlana. The Guyana Defense Force hosted the Brazilian Armed Forces as the GDF held its inaugural meeting of the Bilateral Defense Working Group. Details in this Vanu Manichan report.
The inaugural meeting of the Bilateral Defense Working Group between the Armed Forces of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and the Federative Republic of Brazil has commenced. An opening ceremony was held this morning at the Guyana International Conference Center, Liliendal. Delivering his opening remarks, Chief of Staff Brigadier Mark Phillips said that the two countries have achieved a regime of peace and understanding over the years.
Generations, defense cooperation between our countries have existed, as I mentioned earlier, for over 4.5 decades now. And many of our officers and ranks have done courses and continue to be trained at the excellent training schools and colleges of the Brazilian Armed Forces. Our military cooperation is today exemplified in Guyana's appointment of a resident military attaché to Brazil in the person of Brigadier General Julian Bruce Lovell.
The Chief of Staff acknowledged the fact that Brazil has showed respect for Guyana's territorial integrity and pledged its continuous support to the neighboring military. Meanwhile, the Brazilian military delegation was led by Major General Dacio Luiz Chans, who reaffirmed the intentions of the Brazilian army to promote military cooperation between the two countries. General Chans said that the war group meeting provides an oversight in following up the defense agenda between Guyana and Brazil.
The conversations that we start at this moment here will reinforce even more the understanding in the union between our countries, the integration along our borders, and in particular between our armed forces.
The two armed forces will be engaged in discussions for the next 2 days to better understand each other's operations. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchan.
Bisham Mohammed now joins us to report that an autopsy performed on the body of Barrett Sugrim on Wednesday proved that he died from a single stab wound to his heart.
The autopsy was performed by Dr. Neil Singh at the Georgian Public Hospital mortuary, and he gave the cause of death as perforation to the heart. However, the main suspect in the stabbing incident, Angela Khan, will make her first court appearance tomorrow at the Sparandam Magistrates Court. She is expected to be charged with murder. Barrett Sugrim of Lot 28 Better Hope North, East Coast Demerara, had acted as a peacemaker between the couple during a fight and was stabbed once to his chest in the process. According to reports, the 6th Field Commons Lodge Greater Georgian couple is in the habit of imbibing and fighting each other when drunk. Only recently the man was injured during one of their confrontations. On Sunday, the woman, whose name was given as Angela, reportedly attacked her husband Sewag with a knife, inflicting 2 wounds to his body, one to his back and the other to his abdomen. Upon seeing this, Sugrim, who was commonly called Lusty, intervened and was stabbed. He fell to the ground and reportedly died almost immediately. The couple was taken into police custody and initially told investigators that Sugrim had fallen and hit his head after he would have suffered a cardiac arrest. On Tuesday, Crime Chief Leslie James said that the couple is still in custody and the investigators were awaiting the post-mortem results before charges are instituted. Bisham Mohammed, Evening News.
Thanks, Bisham. A man is now in police custody and is expected to be charged shortly following the discovery of a .22 Taurus pistol and 7 matching rounds in a house at Letham Region 9. According to information received, the weapon and the ammunition were discovered after the police went to investigate a report of threatening behavior at the man's house. A police source told this newscast that the man had earlier threatened to shoot a relative during an argument at his house. He added that after the police went to the home, they inquired about the weapon, but the detainee told them that he was joking around and did not have any weapon at the time. Nevertheless, a search was conducted on his premises where a gun and ammunition were found. If you have a news tip or news story you would like our news team to follow, message or WhatsApp us on telephone numbers 680-9630 or 600-3117. You can also call us at our office on 231-0382 or 226-2102, 223-723-021. You're watching the Evening News. Join us on the other side of the break for more news. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with the Evening News. Head of the Intelligence Unit of the Ghana Defence Force, Lieutenant Colonel Sidney James, today continued his condemnation of the shabby record keeping and documentation of officers of the Ghana Defence Force. Alexis Rodney reports.
On the second day on the cross-examination at the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry, Lieutenant Colonel James described the work of officers during the 1970s as lazy and incompetent. He was at the time being cross-examined by attorney representing the interest of the Rodney family, Andrew Pilgrim. Evidence presented to the Commission by the G2 branch head has unearthed numerous discrepancies and omissions. During his evidence in chief, James had reported that there were many inconsistencies in documents which reflected the purported transfer of weapons from the Army to external organizations and individuals. James had highlighted the failure of officers to register their regimental numbers and first name on the issuing forms. Issues were also raised about the absence of a return date on many of the forms. This, he said, was downright laziness. On the cross-examination by attorney-at-law Basil Williams, evidence of tattered work was also recorded. Williams established that while it was necessary to highlight by what means the weapons had left the Army base, there was no documentation on the alleged issuance form of a gate pass or any method of conveyance. James said that he could not find any such records. Williams then put it to the witness that because there was no record, the weapons may not have left the Army base after all. James denied that suggestion. James had hinted on Tuesday that the Army was somewhat derelict in its responsibilities regarding the missing William Gregory Smith's personal file. He had said that that particular file was considered confidential and should have been kept under lock and key, but instead the document, which could have assisted commissioners investigating the death of Dr. Walter Rodney in determining if his alleged assassin was indeed employed by the military body, has mysteriously disappeared. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
Thanks, Alexis. Guyana Development Mission International, an international relief organization created by Pasco County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Mike Malike, will receive 2 refurbished ambulances formerly owned by Transcare Medical Transportation to help provide critical emergency services to the people of Guyana. The ambulances have been stocked with critical medical supplies and mechanical replacement parts with the help of Pasco County Fire Rescue, the Sheriff's Office, Wilderness Lake Church, the Croquettes Towing, and Saif Enterprises. Pan American Health Organization Director Dr. Carissa Ntine will be gracing Guyana with her presence as activities unfold in observance of Wellness Week 2014. More details in this Svetlana Marshall report.
The Presidential Commission on Non-Communicable Diseases and the Warrior Wellness Club will be launched at the Ghana International Conference Center in the presence of PAHO's director, Dr. Carissa Etienne, during her visit from September 10 to 13. These activities coincide with CARICOM's Wellness Day, which will be observed on Saturday, September 13. Head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luntrin, made this disclosure on Wednesday at the Office of the President.
As you know, non-communicable diseases continue to attract the attention, international health attention, and is of particular interest to developing third world countries because of its rising incidence and prevalence that is quickly approximating that which occurs in the first world, in the developed world, even though in terms of socio-economic indicators, the developing countries lag behind the first world.
He explained too that the Warrior Wellness Club is being designed to promote healthy living among the young and the old in an effort to reduce illnesses that contribute significantly to the development of non-communicable diseases.
The Wellness Warriors reaches out to young people, young Guyanese who are involved in peer activities in promoting surveillance, promoting prevention of illnesses, particularly non-communicable diseases.
The Pan American Health Organization director would also be participating in an instructive symposium on international public health issues, with major emphasis being placed on Ebola and chikungunya. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
The Education Ministry has announced that all schools in Georgetown are ready for reopening on Monday. The ministry in a release said checks made by ministry officials to schools throughout the other administrative regions revealed that those schools are also in a state of readiness for the opening on Monday. The ministry said final preparations in the form of weeding and the arrangement of furniture are currently ongoing countrywide and are expected to be completed in time for the start of the new school year on Monday. It extended best wishes to all students across the country as they begin this new term and new school year. You're watching the evening news. More news still ahead. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. The Enmore Hope and Fowles community policing groups are leading the way in ensuring the community is crime-free as they embark on a cleanup exercise which has been facilitated by the Ministry of Home Affairs. Avinash Ramzan reports.
Members of the two groups have collaborated for the exercise, which is geared at clearing several key points in the community of overgrown bushes. Recently, residents of the Enmore community and neighboring Fowles village have been victims of bottom house theft, especially at nights, while persons using this access bridge linking the two communities have been robbed. The bandits would usually stake out in the bushes which surround the bridge and pounce on unsuspecting individuals. To make matters worse, there is limited lighting around the environs of the bridge. Public Relations Officer of the Enmore Hope and Fowles Community Policing Groups, Ramdio Ramkisoon, said the exercise to rid the villages of unwanted vegetation will be an ongoing one with the help of the Home Affairs Ministry, which recently made available a brush cutter to the groups.
Members of the Enmore Hope and Fowles Policing Groups, we are taking the assignment to clear bushes in both areas, so that our area can be free of crime. Now and then you have petty crime, but we're trying our best, utmost best, to curb that area.
Ramkisoon said that apart from the cleanup exercise, the members would patrol the areas on a nightly basis, ensuring the villages are protected. He added that the groups are open to new members and is encouraging citizens to join hands with the CPG to keep the village free of crime.
The chairman will explain you, see that you have no conviction and so forth, to the police, and then we accept you as a member on a 3-month probation. Then you become a full member.
Ramkisoon, who was accompanied by several members during the cleanup exercise, which will continue in the coming weeks, expressed gratitude to the Home Affairs Ministry and Minister Clement Rohi for their intervention in providing the brush cutter.
Your regional and international news are next. You're tuned to the evening news. You're watching the evening news. I'm Michael Young. It's now time for a look at what's happening in the region and the wider world. China has promised aid to the Caribbean community CARICOM countries in a number of areas, including adaptation to climate change, energy, education, and tourism. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who is on an official visit to the Asian country, on Tuesday met with his Chinese counterpart, Premier Li Keqiang, and both men promised to seek more common ground in economic cooperation and broader mutual support on international affairs. Several countries have already started to receive aid in the various forms, including Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago. Now internationally, a 9-year-old girl in the U.S. has killed her shooting instructor by accident while being shown how to use a high-powered submarine gun. The instructor was giving the girl a lesson at a shooting range in Arizona when the recoil from the automatic fire caused her to lose control of the Uzi. Charles Vaca, 39, was shot in the head and died after being airlifted to a hospital in Las Vegas. The girl was at the shooting range with her parents, who filmed the session. The footage shows the instructor coaching her as she fires a single shot at the target at the last stop shooting range in White Hills, Arizona. It's now time for a look at your bridge report. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed at 5 hours on Thursday, August 28, 2014, for a period of 1.5 hours. The Barbados River Bridge is expected to be closed at 5 hours 30 on Thursday, August 28, 2014, for a period of 1.5 hours. Do join us on the other side of the break. Your sport news is next. Welcome back to the evening news. It's now time for a look at what's happening in the world of sport. But first, your headlines. Ruggers intensify preparations for road to Mexico. Unity for cricket games set for September 6. And India thrash England in second ODI. The sport news comes to you with the kind compliments of Markop.
We believe that everything worth building should be built just once. But that is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. Mark on. Let's build Guyana together.
It's now time for a look at your sport news in detail. With the aim of reclaiming the North American and Caribbean Rugby Association 7's title, the national men's team on Tuesday afternoon commenced fitness training ahead of the tournament in Mexico on December 3 to 4. Avinash Ramzan reports.
The training sessions are being supervised by the Guyana Rugby Football Union's strength and conditioning instructor Barrington Brown at the National Park Rugby Field. According to Brown, the sessions, which are being held from 17 to 18 hours 30 daily, are aimed at general training practices to get the players in top physical condition for the championship.
We're going to try to work for 6 weeks. Try for 6 weeks. We'll be doing a lot of mileage, circuit work, and weight training. All right? Tapering off into a different type of work later on as it comes up close to competition. We're going to start with a 3-mile run. You got to do it in time. 3 miles in 21 minutes should be easy for them. Right? You can do a circuit and some more interval runs and stuff like that, just to bring enough fitness.
After the 6 weeks of training, Brown will conduct a beep test, and he's clamoring for the players to have a reading of about 10 to 12. He, however, expressed dissatisfaction at the low turnout of players on the opening day, despite correspondence being sent out to the various clubs.
Clubs were notified. They were supposed to be putting up 10 names per club. I only have 8 men so far here. So this is unacceptable, really. Some guys say they don't know what's going on. I don't know I really don't know. The club reps, they're supposed to be filtering down information to the members.
Guyana won the NACRA 7's title a record 6 years in a row, and the Guyanese would be looking to reclaim their rightful place at the pinnacle of the 7's format after winning the NACRA 15s for the first time in decades earlier this year.
We have got to win back this NACRA 7s. We just got the 15s, but the NACRA 7s, 6 times champion, that's our bag. Right? This is going to lead up to Pan Am, Hong Kong 7s, and a lot of other doors going to be opening up if we get this NACRA 7s on our belt.
The national female ruggers have also begun training at the National Park under the instruction of senior national player Elwin Chase.
The two teams for Cricket for Unity 2020 match have been outfitted ahead of the highly anticipated clash on Saturday, September 6 at the Demerara Cricket Club ground, Queenstown. Avinash Ramzan has details.
The game was originally billed for July 5 but had to be postponed due to inclement weather. At a simple ceremony at Windjammer Hotel in Kitty, representatives of the two teams, Roraima Strikers and Kaichor Thunders, were presented with uniforms for the game, which will bowl off at 19 hours. The match is the brainchild of sport enthusiast Dexter Bushman Garnett, who explains the genesis of such a match.
This game really and truly was to bring everybody together. It's a unity game. We want everybody to come together and participate in this game. This game is for family, friends, and everybody. You know, don't care what sports you're playing, you could come out and support this game. So because we want to pull it a one venue, friendly atmosphere for everybody. You know, family-friendly venue. You come out.
The two coaches of the teams, Clive Grimmond and Quason Ned, were high in praise for the organisers for putting together such a game and said they're looking forward to some good cricket from a number of prominent members of society, including businessmen, government officials and, of course, cricketers.
This is a very good start for Cricket for Unity. It's a nice day to come out and see some of the old stars still in action. I think members of the public should just come out and support. I think this is a good start. I hope it will be ongoing, and just not this year, because we'll have to next year and get bigger and better. And I wish the best of the sport on the 6th. Mr. Garnett, I think it's a very good idea to come up with. So I'll be there, Roraima Strikers. I think I have a strong and a balanced team. I'm looking to take that trophy.
Cricket for unity. I think cricket needs some unity, and I think so. When Mr. Garnett told me about the initiative, I quickly jumped on it and said, I'm willing to participate. As Mr. Grimmond said earlier, we have some older guys here who play the game at some level, with a mixture of some who keenly interested in playing the game. So I think definitely it's supposed to be a fun game, a nice environment, an environment that people should bring all their families and have a good day.
Meanwhile, Kerry Griffith of Windjammer, one of the sponsors of the match, will also take the field, turning out for Roraima Strikers.
I think this is a good gesture, and I would hope encourage a lot of you to come out and support the game or the match. I have never really played cricket before, but I plan to go there and have some fun and try to get involved. So definitely want to encourage persons to come out and want to encourage more sponsors to come on board to make this annual event.
Apart from a host of former cricketers, the match will feature politicians, singers, journalists, businessmen, police officers and lawyers.
Thanks, Avinash. Suresh Raina hit a superb century as India cruised to victory against England by 133 runs in the second one-day international at Cardiff. Raina scored 100 off of 75 balls, and Rohit Sharma and MS Dhoni also hit half-centuries as the tourists posted 304 for 6. Ravindra Jadeja then claimed 4 wickets as England subsided to 161 in their rain-adjusted chase of 295. Alex Hales hit 40 on his debut, but England will now have to come from behind in the 5-match ODI series. And that has brought us to the end of the evening news for today, Wednesday, August 27, 2014. Please remember to get a copy of tomorrow's edition of the Ghana Times for details of these stories and others. I'm Michael Young, thanking you very much for joining us. Goodbye.